We thank you for today. We pray you bless this lesson, help us to understand, and also help us to see more of you every single day. In Jesus' name, amen. So, up to this point, your distance problems have looked like this. So, someone goes to the store, and then they return. Or someone goes to the park, and then they get a ride home. Now, I am adding an additional distance equation. So, this one is if they have the same distance. You would use that guy. Now, we're going to have ones where like someone travels somewhere. And then from there, they go somewhere else. And they give you a total distance. And we're going to call that total distance K. Why? Because we already used T for time. So behoove us to use a different letter. Right? Behoove. You may look it up later in your free. So the idea is that some distance 1 plus another distance 2 equals K. We know that distance is rate times time. So it would be R1 T1 plus R2 T2 equals K. So what are examples of this? Well, I went to the store and then I went home. Okay? You went to the store, that's your first distance. And then from the store, you go home. That's the total distance. Or, let's try this problem here. Page. Napoleon, oh, that guy's cool. He like defeated me. He's like, right? Not the like, yeah, that guy. Yeah. Yes, Napoleon walked part of the 60 miles to the site of the battle and rode the rest of the way on a caisson. So like a croissant.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
Caisson, C-A-I-S-S-O-N. Caisson. You have to like.
Oh, no, it's in French.
Oh no,
It's
that's not
in
helpful.
French.
Okay, so here's the idea. You might want to draw a picture. So like Napoleon's here, right? And then he walks part of the way. He's like just chilling. He's walking. And we're gonna call caisson, because we don't know what it is, and we don't have time. We got time for that. And then here's the battle. So like people are like,
I got something.
there's like a little cannon, right? So like we'll do like a little cannon thing, and then it's like. And then like the little. Okay, so.
I pulled up the definition on dictionary.com. A structure used in underwater work consisting of an airtight chamber open at the bottom containing air under sufficient pressure to. Okay, no, it's a boat-like structure.
Awesome, it's a submarine.
It's also a wagon in historical times, but yeah.
And then they got the little periscope, right? Not to be confused with like what are those? Where it's all like aluminum and it's like that little trailer that you pull. What's it called?
RVs?
No, I mean it's an RV, but it's a specific one. It's like that's what RV stands for. Anyways, moving on. So he walked part of the way, and then he got in his RV's like spaceship, scuba diving submarine, and then traveled the rest of the way to the little cannon where he like shot off the French Revolution.
No, he lost the battle.
Lost the French Revolution. Okay, so let's reread the problem, and we'll see that this is the appropriate equation to use. Why? Because he traveled some distance, and then he traveled another distance, and we know the total distance. Okay? These two distances are not necessarily the same, so I can't use this equation. I have to use a different one. So let us, not the vegetable, read this again. Napoleon walked part of the 60 miles to the site of the battle. So we know that this whole distance is 60 miles, which is K. Excellent. Okay? The whole distance was 60 miles. And rode the rest of the way on his submarine. He walked at 3 miles per hour and rode at 9 miles per hour. So his rate here is 3. His rate by submarine RV is 9. Okay? It took him 8 hours for the whole trip. So I need to do something with 8 hours. I don't really know what to do yet. And they want to know how long did he walk? Yes. I think you do. So if the total time was 8, then we would add the 2 times. Happy campers? Okay, we have that equation, but we need our other equation. We need this guy. So, do we know R1? R1 is 3. Do we know T1? No, that's what they're asking for. Do we know R2? 9. T2? Okay. 60. Okay, so now I can solve this equation. The hardest part is setting it up, and there you're going to solve. What is the problem asking for? T1 or T2? T1, because they want to know how far to walk. So you're going to solve for T1. So I would recommend substituting. T2 is 8 minus T1. I know, I don't like substitution either. You can plug that in. Yes, you can do elimination. You can do it any way you want. But that would be my preferred way, for sure. All right, moving on. I'm not going to solve that. You guys already know how to solve it. And we have a summary. Edward Longshanks and Queen Eleanor. I don't know. There's like a sibling in this class whose name is Elena. So I don't know. Anyways, so Edward Longshanks and Queen Eleanor were 54 miles apart. Okay, so we have this dude. We'll call him Ed. And he has long shanks but short hair. And here's Queen Eleanor. And they are 54 miles apart. So, what do we think 54 miles is going to be? It is a distance, it's our total distance away. Okay. All right, let's keep reading. Edward began the journey to the meeting place at 8 a.m. Does that mean he traveled 8 hours? No. If you start something at 8 a.m., it does not mean that you traveled 8 hours. Okay, it just means you started at 8 a.m. No big deal. Okay? So, he's traveling this way. Eleanor, it's pronounced Eleanor, but I'm going to keep saying Eleanor. Just to be annoying. At 3 miles per hour. 2 hours later, so what time would that be? 10 a.m. The Queen set out to meet him. If they meet at 4 p.m., how fast did the Queen travel? So what are we solving for? No, R2.
No, I was right. I was right the first
time.
time.
So, when you start these problems, you should know what you're solving for. Okay? So take a moment, read through the problem, be like, what are they asking for? They're asking for the rate of the... Okay? Now, can we find the times? Yes. Absolutely. If we leave at 8 and get there at 4, we traveled for how many hours? The answer is not 4. It's 8. 8 hours. Okay. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. We leave at 10 and get there at 4. How long do we travel? 6 hours. Can you count on your hands? 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was counting on my fingers earlier to figure out what 96 divided by 12 was, and one of our students telling a story. It's a great story. I'm trying to divide 96 by 12. I was counting on my fingers because my brain wasn't working. And then, well, I mean, it was working, like it was keeping me alive, and like breathing and things like that, but like the math part was like, sorry, I'm closed today. So, anyways, the student helped me with that. Without pretty cool. So, I have all of this information now. What I want you guys to do is start with your equation. So, R1, T1 plus R2, T2 equals K. Not to be confused with the robot. That is R2, D2. Thank you to all who laughed. Okay, what's R1? 3. What's T1? 8. Thank you. I've written them here. Look at my beautiful picture. It looks like trash, but it's giving us the information we need to solve the problem. Well, I mean, Ed's like, yeah, and then like the queen is like, look, half of her crown is just flat. Like someone must have stolen the spikes or something. Like it's just not good. Okay. R2 is unknown. We're solving for it. So leave it as a variable. You're in algebra. This shouldn't bother you, right? Time 2, 6 hours. Okay. 54. So regardless of if it's someone who's traveling one distance and then another, or if two people are far apart and coming together, or if two people are together and traveling opposite directions, use this equation because the two distances add up to make some number. There we can solve. The math part of my brain is not functioning today. That's a problem if you're a math teacher. Okay, that answer is wrong. Why? It needs units. So make sure you include units in your answer, and then you'll be correct. Okay? Carefully, like looking at the problem is going to help you. Okay, so like zoom out, take your time when reading it, don't get freaked out, just write down the numbers that they give you, and try and see which of those two equations will apply, right? This is your discernment, right? If you don't have it, pray through it. It'll help you, okay? Discernment. Yes, question? You had a question, you raised your hand. It's a sacred student-teacher covenant. The hand is raised above the shoulder. Okay. A new covenant? Like Jesus? That's cool. Okay, new covenant. No more questions. All right. Begin your homework.